Okay, we're going to start today's lesson with the learning target. I would like for you to write your learning target at the bottom of your notes. Make sure you're on the correct side, the side that actually has a line that says name, and it says Earth, Sun, and Moon notes. Okay, today's learning target, and you can just write it across the bottom. Okay, it is I can describe the relationship between the Earth, Sun, and Moon. Okay, we're going to get a little bit more specific with that learning target tomorrow, but that's where we're going to start today. I can describe the relationship between the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon. Okay, you should have that written at the bottom of your notes. Everybody with me? Okay, so as we look at what we know, and as you look at your notes, you'll read your note says, there have been two major views of how our universe works. Okay, we have accepted mainly one view now, but long ago we believe the universe was what we call a geocentric universe. Okay, so looking at box number 1, long ago everyone believed that the universe was geocentric. So as I underline it, you're filling it in the blank. Let's talk about geocentric. Geo. Christian, do you have a question or? Okay, let's break it down. We don't know a word. Do we maybe know what geo might mean, or where have we heard geo before? Cameron, see? Okay. Okay. So we're making the connection, geography, good, and we know that that's a study of the Earth. So geo would mean Earth, very good. What about centric? What does centric maybe sound like? Claire?
Eccentric, and it's like different and out there.
Okay, different and out there. Okay, what else does it sound like maybe? Christian? Center. Good. Okay. So let's put it together. Geocentric means what, Christian? Earth is in the center of the universe. So out to the side in your notes, I want you to go ahead and I want you to write Earth centered. So that's in that first box. Okay, so what does that mean? And we can sketch it. And we're going to stretch to sketch. So if we stretch to sketch, what are we going to start with putting in the center? Earth. Okay, and we're just sketching it, so no pictures have to be perfect. I know you've got limited space in your box, so try your best. Just put in a circle that has an E in it. Okay, now if it's the center of the universe, what's happening around it? Reagan, what do you think? Okay, the other planets are revolving around it. What else other than a planet? And I'll draw Saturn here. Here's my Saturn. Okay, what else? Hennessy. Okay, the sun as well. And because we've got limited space, just try your best to at least get a couple things revolving around the Earth. And I've got my 2. Okay, I've got my sun and my Saturn revolving around Earth. So we're sketching that. Okay. So this is what the church adopted long, long ago. Okay, and more so even than today, what the church said goes. Okay, what the church said goes. Okay, if you wanted to argue that this was not the way that it was, okay, do you think the church supported you? No. Okay, so along came our dear friend Galileo. Okay, we'll talk about him a lot this year, but one of his first things he started arguing that this wasn't quite right. Now, do you think he was supported again? No. Okay, he was not supported, but he came up and he said, I've got all this evidence, we've got all these facts that it's not earth-centered. The earth is actually moving. Okay, and so he wanted them to consider heliocentric. All right, heliocentric, meaning, where have you heard helio before?
Helium.
Where am I? Okay, helium, yes. Anybody else? Anybody know Greek gods? Okay. Christian? Not Hermes. Sounds like Helios, so his name was Helios. And he was the Greek god of
Sun.
the sun. Okay, so helio means
Sun center.
sun-centric, meaning center. So heliocentric means
The sun is further.
sun is the center of the universe. So go ahead and in box number 2 there, let's go ahead and fill in heliocentric. And I want you to make sure that you write sun-centered. Okay? And I see some of you already stretching the sketch. So as we stretch to sketch, I'll start with my son. You can even give him glasses if you want, because his future is bright. Okay, what else, Cordy? We're in box number 2. Heliocentric. Okay, I had underlined it, but it went away. Okay. All right, so we're drawing, might have the earth. I'm just sketching so I can draw a few things here. I'll draw my earth, and Saturn's easy to draw. All right. You guys good? All right. If you've got box 1 and 2 filled out, you're going to put down your pencil temporarily, and I want you to pick up your red pen. Everybody needs to write in red pen. Okay, from here on out. I'll tell you when to switch. Okay, so just listening to directions. Everybody's got a red pen in your hand. Pull that workbook forward, and we're going to start looking at page 71. So whether you got it done or not, we're all correcting page 71 right now. Okay? Does anybody need this slide still? Good deal. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at the top of page 71. We talked about this in your bell ringer. So let's go back to it and let's fill in our box, because I know some of you might have been a little bit confused about how this was organized. What's the Earth shape?
Sphere.
Sphere, so that goes in the center. If for some reason you don't have that in the center, take your red pen. Red pen should be in your hand, okay, and write sphere. All right. What was our evidence? How do we know that it's a sphere? And some of you, as I walked around, you only had one piece of evidence, which I told you yesterday was okay. But I want us to add the others. Okay, if you need to go out into the margin or if you need to write around it, whatever you need to do, as long as you're writing in what color ink?
Red.
Red. Okay, so somebody give me one piece of evidence. Reagan.
The Earth's shape is a sphere because we see a curved shadow on the moon during the lunar eclipse.
Good. Now I have limited space up here, kind of like you do, so I'm going to put curved shadow on the moon. Okay, make sure you've got it. If you've got it, you're good. If you don't have it, you're writing it with your pen. Okay? All right, what's another reason? Number 2. Caitlin. Good. So we have pictures from space. And what's our third reason that we have? Dakota?
Earth's shape is that
That was our number 1. Good. So we've got that. We've got pictures from space. Let's go to the beach. And if we're at the beach, Nathan, what are we going to see? Okay. Good. So for those of you that couldn't hear Nathan, he said from the horizon, or a sailboat coming in, coming to shore. I'm trying to shorten it as best I can. We see the sail first. Okay. All right. Questions about the evidence? Did we get all 3? Okay. Now, in one word, what causes our sphere? What causes our sphere? Cordy? Gravity. Good. Now here's my question to you as we write that word gravity in there. Okay. We experience gravity from a lot of different places. Okay. Where's the gravity coming from that actually makes us a sphere? And I think Claire touched on this a little bit earlier. Okay. Where is that gravity coming from? Claire, why don't you tell us again?
Do you want me to tell you my answer?
Okay. Specifically, where is that gravity coming from?
The mass that all the particles.
Okay, and so where is that key of that mass located? Where is the key in the center of what?
The Earth.
Of the earth. Good. Okay, so I'm just going to add a note up there, and I want you to do the same in your workbook with your red pen. Okay, comes from the core. Now, what can you tell me about the core? Okay, it's both inner and outer. So some of the core is what? Okay, metal, solid metal. Some of it's what? Okay, some of it's liquid. What can you tell me about the temperature? It's really hot. Okay, not only is it really hot, but going back to it being solid and liquid, it's extremely dense. Okay, it is extremely dense. All right. Questions about that one? All right, so as we continue to talk about the shape, let's look at the second box on page 71 in your workbook. And here's my question to you. Is it perfect? Is it a perfect sphere? No. Yes or no? What do you say? No. No, good. Okay, so when we look at my globe up here that Miss Redmond sent up, this one looks pretty perfect, doesn't it? Okay, when we look at pictures, and I want you to, in your book, I want you to turn to page 78. Okay, so when we look at it, it looks perfect, but in reality, it is not. So along with your picture, and once you turn to page 78 in your book,
Page 178.
178, excuse me, thank you. Okay, 178 in your book, not your workbook, your book. Okay, so you look at that picture, and when we look at that picture, one more page, Nathan. There you go. Okay, when we look at that picture, it looks pretty perfect, doesn't it? Okay, I think it looks pretty perfect. Okay, but it's not. And so as you look at your box on page 71, I want you to make sure somewhere in that box, whether it's underneath the box, whether it's on the outside of the box, that you make a note that it's not a perfect sphere. Okay? I want you to make a note, and I've underlined it on the board. Okay? You're making a note, and some of you did that as I walked around. Okay? If you wrote it's not a perfect sphere, then that's fine. If not, you're fixing it with your red pen or adding it. Okay, and once you're on page 178 and you look at that picture, I want you to go ahead and then flip to 180. Okay? All right. Now, as we look at page 180 and we look at that picture, okay, why is it not a perfect sphere? Look at that picture on page 180 if this is, Okay. Make some observations about the data that you've got there. And what can you tell me, Abby?
The north-south circumference regardless is smaller than the east-west circumference.
Very good. So those of you that didn't hear Abby, the north to the south circumference is shorter than the east to the west. So as I draw my picture up on the board, I'm going to draw it pretty exaggerated. Okay, so technically in this theory that Abby just said to us, let me get my box up here. Okay, she's telling us it's bulging slightly at the equator and it's somewhat flattened around the poles, so I'm going to be extremely exaggerated, yes. Okay, and I'm not the best artist, but here's my north, here's my south. We can say this is my west and this is my east. Okay, so if you need to make, it's okay if you need to make your picture, just point that out. Okay, but what I do want to point out to you, and what I do want you writing along with it's not a perfect sphere, okay, I do want you adding or making sure you've got written the distance around north and south. Throwing things at me, Brittany. I'm just teasing. Okay. The distance around north and south is shorter than east and west, for lack of room here. So make sure you've got that added too. Now what can you tell me looking at page 180 as you write that in? Is it a lot shorter?
No.
Okay, looking at your picture and reading that diagram, who can tell me what the distance is all the way around north and south first? Jeremy, what's that distance? 40,008 kilometers. What's the distance around west to east or east to west there? Around that part. Cameron? 40,075 kilometer. Where are my math whizzes? Okay, what's the difference? Have you figured it out, Cameron? All right, Cameron B. 63. You're close. 60 up 4. 67. Right? That's what we decided last hour. Check my math. Yeah. Okay. All right. So 67 kilometers difference. In the grand scheme of things, is that a huge difference?
No.
Okay. Not really, but it still makes it not a perfect sphere.
Mountains around the east-west, or not mountains, just bold.
Yes, and we'll talk more about that word bulge because the moon, does the moon influence us?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And so the moon even causes us to maybe have slightly larger bulges at certain times too. And we'll explore that next week. All right, put your red pen down, grab your pencil and your notes. We'll come back to your workbooks. Jeremy, did you have a question? Earth and moon balance each other out. Okay, I am a person that said you never know, but based on what they've studied, is the moon and the Earth's gravity are pretty easily balanced there. Okay, we'll talk about that more when we talk about tides. Okay, all right. So, looking at your notes, you'll see that I've given you a diagram, a picture. I didn't draw it myself because you know how artistic I am. Okay, and we've got some basic just motions and words that we need to review. So take a quick minute, glance over them, see if you can fill in any of those blanks on your notes. There, looking at that picture, can you fill in any of those blanks and do so? All right. It says I'm still on, but I can't see my screen anymore. There it goes. All right. So let's look. You've had a quick minute to kind of glance over some of those words here. All right. And some of these were on your workbook too last night. So Earth's blank is the imaginary line drawn through the poles. Let's fill in the blank. What word best fits there? Tiffany? Axis, very good. Oh. All right, so axis goes in that first blank. Next one, the spinning of Earth on its axis is called what? So as I stand here, I spin. Okay. What is that motion called? Ben? Rotation. Now, rotation causes what two things to happen on Earth? Reagan? Day and night. So make sure your boxes are filled in there. All right, now as it spins, it's also moving around the sun. We established with our heliocentric in mind. So what's that motion called as it travels around the sun? Caitlin? Revolution. And as it revolves, it follows a path. And that path is called what, Lily? An orbit. Brody, can you please answer my phone? Miss Wilson's room, how may I help you? All right. Everybody got your vocabulary words filled in? Yes? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? We ready to move on? Okay, grab your red pen. Let's take a look at our paragraph at the bottom of page 71. And based on what we just filled in, let's fill in that paragraph. All right, Earth rotates once. How often? Okay, I heard a day. I'm going to avoid using that word day, and we'll explain that in a minute. Okay. Okay, 24-hour time period that works once every 24 hours. Oh, I'm going the wrong way here. All right, so once every 24 hours. Goes around an imaginary line called what? What, class? Axis. All right, as Earth rotates, each location on Earth will face toward the sun and have day. And then face away from the sun and have night. You're fixing it with your red pen. I just want you being honest. Okay, questions? Okay. Caitlin? Okay, now, why did I avoid, any thoughts as to why I avoided using day in the first sentence? What do you think, Cameron? Day's already been used, and a lot of the times, day could have two meanings. Sometimes we refer to day and we mean 24 hours. Sometimes we refer to day and we just mean the amount of time we have sunlight. Okay, so, and it's just one of those words that has a loose definition, so it's important that we're just being clear about that. Claire?
Plus some days on the other side of the world, some days in shorter than others.
Exactly, and every day is a little bit different, really, in length. Okay, we have a very important day coming up that we'll probably talk about specifically next week, but the 21st of this month is what we call the equinox. Anybody know what the equinox is? Okay. Ben, what do you know? Sun is above the equator. Good. We read about this yesterday. What does that mean for us? It's above the equator. Equinox. It sounds like the word equal. So what do you think that means for our day and our night? They're exactly 12 hours. Okay? So, and it typically falls about the 21st of September. So, this weekend, right? Is that Saturday? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, let's talk about seasons. And we're getting close to time. I want to leave you with one question. And we're just going to fill in one bullet there on seasons. Okay. My question to you is, let's talk about distance. The Earth is to the sun. My question to you is, when is it the closest? Okay? When is the sun the closest to the Earth, or the Earth the closest to the sun? Cameron C. Winter? Summer? Sunter? I just made up a season. Okay? All right. How many of you say winter? How many of you say summer? Ooh, that's a lot of hands. Summer. How many of you say spring? Fall? Okay. I think I had the most hands for summer. Why did I have the most hands for summer? Claire?
Because it's so hot in summer, so people think that we're closer to the sun.
Good. Okay. Claire, you fell into my trap. It was a beautiful trap. Okay? Common sense tells us it's hot in the summer, we're closer to the sun. Okay? But in fact, it's not that way. Okay? So what I want you to fill, and we'll continue with this tomorrow, but on your notes, what I want you to do is I want you to fill in, okay? We are actually, and I have a misspelling up here, I forgot to fix it. Okay? We are actually closer to the sun in January than we are in July. So fill in that first bullet on your seasons box. Okay? Then you may pack up. Where does that sheet go in your binder? Notes section.